Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the 808 podcast where we take business owners, CEOs, marketing directors, or people, whoever I feel like, 4 questions in 8 minutes and 8 seconds because 808 looks like Bob. Here we go. Question number one, in a few sentences, tell me who you are and what do you do?
So I am JP Clement. I'm the CEO of boomtime, which is a digital marketing agency. We're fully virtual, so we're technically based out of New Mexico, but we are all across the country. I've been a marketer for over 30 years. In the past 10 years, I've asked myself a lot of questions about how to run a digital marketing agency. And then I found boomtime that needed a new CEO, and they were doing it the way I thought it should be done. And I've been on the client side, I've been on the agency side probably about in equal parts, but for the past 15 years, mostly on the agency side.
Perfect there. Question number two, JP. What advice would you like to share? Go.
Well, one of us I'd like to share is, how to set up your analytics to make sure that your marketing campaigns are correct and are doing the right thing for the right people at the right time. This is something that has been really a pet peeve of mine for many, many years, right, where a lot of the clients that I've had and all of the agencies I've worked for or people I've worked with in an agency setting don't take the time to actually set up their analytics and their KPIs properly before starting a campaign, which results in them not being able to actually be able to tell whether the campaign is working or not. Mm-hmm. So I highly recommend that everybody involved in marketing, when they start a project or campaign or anything having to do with something like that, take the time to research, to define what KPIs should be tracked, why they should be tracked, and also to set targets for these KPIs. So when they actually start doing the campaigns, they can monitor it, they can make sure that what they're doing is working, or if it's not working, take corrective action.
Okay, so how do you go about doing that?
Well, every project is pretty different in every company, but maybe doing a marketing project might be slightly different. But I think during the strategy part of your campaign, and you should start with strategy first. Right. KPIs are a big part of defining your strategy, and based on defining what the goals are, what strategies you're going to be putting in place to achieve those goals, then leads you very quickly to if this is what it is, then this is how we need to measure it. So a KPI could be for digital marketing conversion rates. It could be website traffic. It could be, a bunch of things like that. And then by doing your research and your thinking ahead of time, you can figure out, for instance, if you have an addressable market of 100,000 companies or customers, then you can say, if I'm starting a website, I want to be able to get X number of page views per month, right? So this is how, you have to do the research and the thinking first, be able to define your KPIs, and then set a target for those KPIs that makes sense given your resources, your goals, and where you are in the marketplace and all kinds of things like that.
No, that makes sense there. So you give me an example of someone you've worked with where you actually went through this process and they had an increase.
So we just got a new client at boomtime, the first question I asked them when they became a client is like, okay, how big is your addressable market? Who are you going after, and what do you want to achieve? And so we went through that process. They're a commercial printing firm in Canada. Actually, we have clients a little bit all over the place. Right. They told me, we talked about their markets, the space in which they were playing. They have different verticals. So actually, we broke down those KPIs by vertical, and then we're doing a pretty interesting connection campaign on LinkedIn so they can find more clients. Mm-hmm. And so we defined their addressable market. It was in dozens of thousands in this case, and then we broke it down by a vertical, and then when we set a target of X to be able to reach X% of these people in a given month. And so we set that target. I thought it was a little bit conservative, and we've been blowing those numbers out of the water, but the client was very happy with the target we had set. So he's obviously incredibly happy with the results that we're generating.
Love it.
But we wouldn't be able to have that kind of success and actually demonstrate success if we hadn't set those parameters first.
Right. Absolutely. And parameters are important there. Question number 3 is time for shout outs. JP, who are you shouting out?
Well, I'm gonna, and this is not a CYA kind of thing, but I'm gonna do a big shout out to the person who was the CEO and the founder of Boomtime before me, who's now kind of quote unquote my boss. He's the executive chairman of Boomtime, and he's still teaching me an amazing amount of things that about the finer points of running a digital marketing agency. I thought that I was pretty good at it. I started 3 of my own, but he's really he's becoming an incredible mentor, and really teaching me about some things that I have never really thought about. Right. Because he comes from a very private equity funding and technological background, not necessarily marketing background. And his name is Bill Dice. He moved on. That's why he needed to replace himself. He moved on to a company called NQ ZebraWorks, which is doing incredibly well. It's in the legal tech space. And he's just an amazing person, period, but also an incredible business mind, and someone that I fully respect. And as I said, he's teaching me things on the weekly basis. So I appreciate that very much.
That is awesome there. Question number 4, final fun question with 2 minutes and 13 seconds left. JP, tell me about your first sale.
Yeah, so my first sale at Boomtime, although I'm the CEO, I do also a lot of selling. That's a life of being a CEO in a small or to medium-sized company. Right. I actually, Bill, in a transition period, introduced me to a client in Florida that is in the medical space. They have a pretty revolutionary breast cancer detection product that is very very inexpensive and incredibly useful, that just been sold by approved by the FDA. And then so it took me actually 3 months to sell them, although the client was very happy from his first contact with me when I'd been CEO for 2 days. And I sold him on the spot, but it took another 3 months to actually close the deal because he was so busy with funding and FDA issues and all that. And it was directly with CEO. The company name is Wellways. It's an incredible company too, but it was a fun. He's from European extraction as well, like I am, from Spain. It was a really interesting sale in the sense that it was a very personal and very consultative sale. But at the same time, a very kind of clear-cut and very well-defined in our process kind of sales. Right. So kind of a weird combination, but I always remember it because it was a great company. It was a kind of weird process, and also it was a successful process.
Perfect. Love it there. Hey, JP, you've got 35 seconds left. You want to do some promo time before we end?
No, I'm good. I think, everybody can find us at Boomtime and find me on LinkedIn. I'm very present on LinkedIn. So perfect.
You pulled it off. 4 questions in 8 minutes and 8 seconds. JP, why is it 8 minutes and 8 seconds?
Because it looks like Bob.
It does. It does. Your website, say it real quick.
Boomtime.com, boomtime.com.
Yep. And the description, it's magic. JP, thank you so much for being on. Tip of the hat to you. And for everyone else watching or listening, I'm legally required to tell you to like, share, comment, subscribe, thumbs up, ring the bell, whatever the heck the social media network tells you to do. You all have a good day now. Talk to you later. Bye.